The orbit of Centralis Prime shimmered like a jewel, its clouds swirling in violet and copper hues. From the viewport of the Celestial Grace, Commander Lisa Varen studied the world below with suspicion etched deep into her features. Beauty, she had learned long ago, was often the first layer of a trap. ETA to diplomatic berth, 7 minutes, the pilot announced, his voice sterile. Lisa didn't respond. Her eyes tracked the distant glint of Coalition warships, their sleek, curved hulls like blades laid across the stars. She didn't like their positioning. Too tight. Too quiet. The conference room behind her buzzed with hollow optimism, Earth's finest diplomats, dressed in polished uniforms, rehearsing lines of peace for the 11th time. They were here to finalize humanity's entry into the Varellan Coalition. Observer status. No voting rights. No military privileges. A leash wrapped in gold. Her brother stepped beside her, helmet tucked under one arm. You ever stop glaring at planets, Liz? Lisa smirked faintly. Only when they stop glaring back. Lieutenant Kane Varen was her opposite, bright, idealistic, too young to remember Earth's early space wars. But he had a sharp mind, and he trusted her gut, even when others didn't. Think they'll go through with it? He asked. No. Something's wrong. Stay close. The summit chamber was cathedral-like, high arches, floating sigils of the 11 coalition species circling overhead. The delegation sat in concentric rings, humans at the outer edge, beneath banners not yet unfurled. Archon Velrax, draped in ceremonial gold-laced armor, raised his 6-fingered hand to silence the crowd. His voice slithered across the chamber, calm and calculated. We welcome the Terrans, he began, whose fire has burned long in solitude. Today, that fire joins the stars, if they are worthy. Lisa shifted in her seat. The tone was all wrong. This wasn't diplomacy. It was theater. Velrax didn't speak like a leader offering peace. He spoke like a priest delivering judgment. A diplomat 2 rows ahead began Earth's response, reciting hopeful platitudes about unity and shared futures. Lisa's comms chirped once. A single encrypted pulse. Her fingers froze. Kane, she whispered. Scramble evac protocols. Quietly. He looked over, confused. What is it? I don't know. But something's coming. A faint tremor rattled the chamber. Then a high-pitched chime. Velrax raised both arms. And so, let it be judged. The floor beneath the human delegation exploded. Lisa's ears rang as bodies crumpled around her. A fireball surged through the chamber's eastern wing. She rolled, dragging a wounded aide behind a marble pillar. Kane emerged from the smoke, coughing, dragging 2 others with him. Exit's gone! He shouted. Above, coalition guards, armed, ready, poured into the balconies. This wasn't an accident. It was a purge. Lisa fired 2 clean shots, dropped a guard, and signaled Kane. Fall back point Echo 12. Shuttle Bay. They sprinted through shattered halls, under crumbling sigils and burning banners. Kane slowed, his leg bleeding. She looped his arm over her shoulder, dragging him into the lift tube. Explosions rippled through the station. Human corpses littered the marble floors. The last thing Lisa saw before the lift closed was a coalition officer calmly stepping over a body, eyes locked with hers. They reached the shuttle bay, now a chaos of metal and fire. Most crafts had been vaporized. One remained, charred, smoking, still functional. Lisa pushed Kane into the co-pilot's seat, then sealed the hatch behind her. Get us out. He grunted, eyes blurry, hands shaking. Think we're clear? She didn't answer. The engines roared. Outside, Centralis Prime loomed serene, indifferent. As they broke atmosphere, their comms crackled, distorted voices, distress signals, silence. Then Earth Command came through. Garbled but unmistakable. Multiple dignitaries lost. Coalition forces hostile. All Terran ships, retreat and regroup. Then static. Kane slumped, blood pooling. Liz. I don't think I. No, she said, gripping his hand. You're not dying here. But she knew. She'd seen this before. Combat shock, abdominal bleeding. Minutes at best. He smiled weakly. Guess you were right. They weren't ready for peace. No, she whispered. They were never interested. He died before they cleared the moon's orbit. Hours later, aboard the UNSC Retribution, the mood was cold steel and coiled rage. Lisa stood before the Council via encrypted link. Earth's leaders argued among themselves, some still desperate to believe it had been a rogue attack, an error, a misunderstanding. She uploaded the comms log. It was brief. One line. Coalition High Command, dated 3 weeks prior. When the Terrans gather, strike the match. End them before they spread. Silence followed. Then Lisa spoke. They killed our people in the name of purity. They smiled while doing it. We can grieve, or we can make them regret ever knowing us. Some still hesitated. But Earth knew war. And deep down, they remembered. She stood on the command deck of the Retribution, now hers by emergency directive. The ship had taken damage during exfiltration, but it would fly. Others would join her soon, frigates, drones, stealth cruisers. She would forge a fleet from the broken, the enraged, the willing. A junior officer stepped beside her. What do we call the mission, ma'am? She looked out into the void, where Centralis spun like a coin soaked in blood. Call it Operation Hellvale. She turned to the crew. We offered them peace. They gave us fire. Now we return it, without mercy. The moon Vietura hung in the void like a bloated carcass, wrapped in rings of glimmering fuel silos and drone nests. It powered 3 sectors of the Coalition's warfront, untouchable, they believed. Commander Lisa Varon studied its orbital grid from the command deck of the UNSC Retribution. Her eyes didn't blink. Her mind mapped weaknesses. We've confirmed the patrol loop, said Tactical Officer Bren Ives. 48-minute rotation. 1-minute gap in blind spot Delta 5. That's our needle, Lisa replied. Thread it. Operation Ghost Star launched with silence. No declarations. No anthem. The Retribution's stealth hull glided into the shadow of a dead asteroid. Behind her, 3 frigates mirrored its arc blackout mode. No comms. Minimal power. Just enough thrust to push them forward, invisible to the naked eye, buried in debris fields. On the surface of Vietura, Coalition workers went about their shifts unaware. Above, their sentries dozed in rhythm, never expecting humans to strike so deep, so fast. Lisa activated the ghost relay. An artificial broadcast of distress signals, recorded from destroyed Terran scouts, looped through open space. A Coalition patrol veered off course, chasing the Phantom. That was the opening. 0 hour. Human Marines in skin-tight drop armor plunged from orbit in guided shells. They pierced the atmosphere like meteors, slamming into silo platforms with kinetic force. Explosives planted. Systems overridden. 22 points sabotaged in under 8 minutes. A single Coalition dreadnought scrambled to respond. It never got close. Retribution's railguns splitted open mid-burn, spilling molten metal and vacuum-frozen bodies. By the time Vietura's defenses activated, the humans were gone. Only fires remained, liquid fuel dripping from the sky like rain. Back on the Retribution, Lisa listened to the reports without celebration. Casualties? She asked. 17. 6 confirmed Kia, rest injured, Ives said. Mission success. Coalition fuel output dropped by 30% system-wide. She nodded. They'll call it terrorism. Let them. He hesitated. Velrax is expected to respond. Good, she said. Let him overreach. He did. A broadcast intercepted within 20 hours showed the Mars Outpost 9 settlement, families, farmers, terraformers. Velrax's voice was smooth, ceremonial. To the Terrans who murder in shadows, this is our justice. Then chemical canisters dropped from the sky. Lisa watched in silence as civilians clawed at their throats. Some tried to run. Most didn't make it past the doors. The footage looped, accompanied by coalition news reports painting the attack as a surgical strike on a weapons development site. Lisa closed the display. Play it again, she ordered. Ives hesitated. Commander. Play it. On loop. Bridge wide. For hours, the screams echoed. No one turned it off. That night, in her private quarters, Lisa sat with the last message from her brother, recorded days before Centralis. If you're seeing this, you outlived me. Shocker. Look, I know you'll blame yourself, but I don't want you to become like them. Don't burn everything. Just leave something standing. She watched it once, then deleted it. 2 days later, Operation Black Rain began. Human AI specialists hijacked orbital mining satellites around Carnus Beta, a lush, coalition agri-world. The satellites, previously used to scan ore beneath a planet's crust, were turned against the surface. Without warning, asteroid fragments rained down. Strategic craters swallowed farmland and power stations. No troops were deployed. No shots fired. Just calculated ruin from above. Coalition food output plummeted. 3 sectors braced for famine. Civilians fled by the millions. Lisa issued a statement. No more graves on Earth. Now they dig their own. The backlash came not from the enemy, but within. A Terran diplomat, Silas Marek, was caught transmitting coordinates of the Retribution's movements to a supposed peace envoy. In reality, it was a coalition trap. Lisa summoned him to her quarters. He entered in formal wear, stiff and unapologetic. I did what I had to, Silas said. You're turning us into monsters. She stared him down. They made that choice for us. They didn't bomb Mars. Velrax did. There are still species in that coalition who want peace. And they stood by while our people choked. He stepped forward. If we kill everyone, what do we become? Lisa pulled her sidearm and set it on the table between them. We become the reason they never try this again. Silas froze. I came to talk. No. You came to betray. He took a step back. She didn't. The shot was clean. One to the head. Later, in her personal log, she wrote, Mercy is a concept for safe worlds. We no longer live in one. Coalition leadership began to unravel. Fragmented comms revealed unrest, species arguing over Velrax's strategy. Some blamed humans. Others blamed him. Defections began quietly, one commander at a time. Velrax responded with escalation, deploying null-class skirmishers to human supply routes, vaporizing entire cargo fleets, including non-combatant vessels. But it wasn't enough. Humans kept adapting. Their tactics bent expectations. Their AI warfare confounded Varellan logic. Where aliens followed tradition, humans broke patterns. Where aliens sought order, humans embraced chaos. And in the center of it, always, stood Lisa Varon, grief buried, focus sharpened to a knife's edge. The Retribution orbited the dead husk of Outpost Theta 9, now a charred landmark in the black. On the bridge, silence reigned as new data arrived. Intercepted communication, Ives said. From inside the Coalition's high command. Source? A Varellan admiral. Claims he's willing to defect. Lisa turned. Why? He says Velrax has activated something called Protocol Ethar, a defensive contingency buried in the Coalition capital. He wants to help us get there before it's used. She stood slowly. Prepare for contact. But stay ready. He frowned. You trust him? I don't trust anyone, she said, stepping toward the viewport, watching the stars shift. But if he's right, it's time we set fire to their throne. The capital world of the Coalition, Etharkai, hung beneath a lattice of orbital weapons and glimmering shields. A planet built to impress, its continents shaped by generations of artificial tectonics, cities spiraling into the sky like glass thorns. It was the beating heart of 11 species. Untouched. Untouchable. Until now. From the command deck of the UNSC Retribution, Commander Lisa Varon stared at its silhouette. Beside her, Admiral Terrell, the Varellan defector, waited, still stiff in his ceremonial armor. That planet, he said, voice low, has never seen war. Lisa didn't look at him. Then it's time it learns. 2 fleets flanked the Terran flagship. Battle Group Helix on the left, Strike Wing Obsidian on the right, each armed with AI-piloted drones, plasma lances, and kinetic cannons. Behind them, stealth frigates prepared to breach the outer rings with viral payloads, code designed to eat the capital's comms from within. Operation Hellvale's final phase had begun. Lisa turned to her comms officer. Initiate Cascade Protocol. Confirmed, came the reply. Etharkai's outer defense array lit up with confusion. Internal warnings flickered through their systems, but nothing responded. Coalition engineers scrambled to realign the satellites. Too late. Every ship in the Terran fleet went live simultaneously. Space tore open with coordinated barrages, pulse cannons shredding through shield layers like smoke. Retribution's railguns locked onto defense hubs, firing 2-ton projectiles at near-light velocity. In less than 8 minutes, Etharkai's first ring fell. Lisa gave no speech. No rallying cry. Only orders. Ground strike teams, deploy. The drop ships screamed through the atmosphere, trailed by streaks of vapor and burning debris. Shock troopers slammed into the surface like hammers. Plasma fire met them instantly, alien soldiers defending ornate towers and spiral temples. The coalition fought not to win, but to protect symbols. Lisa led the First Blade Company, her boots landing on the marble steps of the coalition's spire, Velrax's command center. By now, he knew she was here. He was waiting. Inside the spire, silence reigned. White halls gleamed with ancient runes. Statues of long-dead leaders lined the corridor like silent witnesses. Then footsteps. Velrax emerged from shadow. His gold armor was dulled, scratched from battle, but his posture hadn't wavered. You should not have come, he said. You brought the war to us, Lisa replied, raising her rifle. He spread his arms. You killed children. Burned food. Poison peace. Is this how your species survives? She stepped forward. No. This is how we outlive extinction. He drew a slender blade. Not ceremonial. Not for show. He moved like someone who had trained for this moment his entire life. So be it. Their duel was fast, brutal. Velrax lunged with precision, years of ritualized combat in every motion. Lisa blocked with her forearm blade, countering with short, efficient strikes. No honor, just efficiency. He slashed her across the shoulder. She jammed her knee into his side and drove a knife into the soft joint of his elbow. He roared, staggered, then lashed out again. You are fire without control. He spat. You will consume yourselves. No, she said. We burn what threatens us. With a twist and a snap, she disarmed him. Her rifle raised. He stared up at her, bleeding, breathing shallow. You think this changes anything? It ends you, she said, and pulled the trigger. The coalition's last stronghold fell an hour later. With Velrax dead, his command chain fractured. Many officers surrendered. Others fled into deep space. Etharkai's remaining leaders, cornered and afraid, transmitted a signal of unconditional ceasefire. Lisa didn't celebrate. She walked through the burned gardens of the spire, past shattered crystal statues and crushed emblems. Her soldiers moved in disciplined silence behind her. She contacted Earth. Etharkai is neutralized. Coalition forces routed. Awaiting instructions. 3 days later, the newly formed Galactic Accord Council convened on a neutral platform above the ruins of Etharkai. Former coalition species sent representatives. Human flags flew for the first time, equal in size and weight. Lisa was invited to speak. She refused. The politicians could reshape the stars. Her job had been to make space for them to breathe. Back aboard the Retribution, she stood before her bridge crew one final time. Is it over? Ives asked. She didn't answer immediately. No, she said at last. It never ends. It just waits. He nodded, understanding. What now? Lisa looked out at the stars. We build peace. But we keep our blade sharp. She stepped into the lift, armor still stained with ash. In her private log, she recorded one last entry. We were born in fire, and they thought that made us dangerous. But we were dangerous because we learned how to walk through it. Peace is not the absence of war, it is the memory of what happens when war returns. Let them remember. Let none forget.